Hello, and welcome to another episode of Tales from a Professional Nerd. My name is Bryan Steele, and I will be your nerd today and any other day that you watch one of my silly little shows. Okay, so we're going to just dive right in. I know I didn't have a video last week, part of why I'm doing this week. Let's just dive in. Painting. I actually did something very cool. And I'm going to show you. You guys are going to be the first people to see it outside of my eyes and obviously my kid's eyes because he was in the studio when I finished it. So I was part of the Surviving Strange Hollow writing a design campaign, the Kickstarting campaign. And one of the things that we did is we offered STLs of some of the cool creatures that you might find and encounter in Strange Hollow. Now, I printed this one a little larger because I wanted to. It's not for the map. It's actually for a present. Long story short, this is a swamp troll. I printed him on my printer. He is a resin print, and then I took a couple of days to get him painted up and set up. But he is one of the Strange Hollow swamp trolls. A big, kind of simple guy who eats just about everything, prefers just kind of stinky, rotten food, and would much rather just walk around the swamp and grab, grab things that have already fallen and have started decomposing that smell so good, and occasionally an adventurer might get too close and become a meal. So yeah, this is, we're going to call him Steven, the oversized swamp troll. Hello, Steven. But he is what I've been painting most of this week. I have been doing a little bit of prep for some of my Gamehole Con stuff, including painting the drop core team that people who play in my my Heck Divers 2 Intergalactic Heroes special event. They will actually get to take home when they're done being overrun by a bunch of Arthro destroyers. Yeah, so been doing a little bit of that. If you actually hear it in the background, I think my microphone is directional enough that you shouldn't. But I've got my printer running right now for another set of fun giveaways for people who play in my Gamehole special events. Yeah, so that's pretty much almost all my hobbying. Let's see, hobbying, gaming. I got to play. We'll talk a little bit about what happened last week in the actual episode. But other gaming, two things. I got Space Marine 2, one of my best friends in the world, bought it for me for Xbox, and we were playing it. It's a great game. The controls are a little less than intuitive. It takes a minute to really get into it, and I think some of the interface could be better. But it's gorgeous. And the story so far, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's a Space Marine story. Maybe I'm just not far enough to get to the twist yet, but I mean, it's a Tyranid invasion movie. It's a Tyranid invasion game, so you know you're fighting the hordes and occasionally have to deal with some standout big monsters. But I'm very very happy with that game, and will continue to put some hours into it when I have time. I am also, due to a wicked wave of nostalgia, my son was watching a video about Total War 3, which is a Warhammer, not Age of Sigmar, but actual Warhammer Fantasy. The game that I played for like 20 years before it changed into Age of Sigmar. And we were watching the video, and you know a bunch of names and places and magic items and stuff that I remember from when we played that game all the time. It brought back that wave, getting to talk to Connor about the backstory of some of these armies and some of these characters and some of this stuff. and how it ties into the game. And it hit me right in the, right in the old school miniature game nostalgia feels. And so I bought it. I grabbed it. I don't play games on my PC. So it's literally, apart from a couple of one-offs that I've had for various other projects, it is my only game on my computer, and I'm having a good time. I think it's great. It's not something that I can play for like long stretches of time, just because I'm sitting here at the computer and I want to be working, I want to be doing other things, so I have to kind of like focus on playing and then be done. But having a good time with that too. And then this weekend, got to play my halfling drunk monk, Sal Sobersbane, in my friend Albert's D&D game that's been going on a long time. I think we're getting ready to get to something big, to some kind of big, hefty moment. We fought some evil trees, we wandered through a haunted forest, more like almost like a possessed forest rather than haunted. And then we got to this like citadel in the middle of the possessed forest, and we're supposed to find this ancient evil and destroy it. I get the feeling that this ancient evil is kind of the benchmark of the part of at least this part of the campaign. I don't know, but we're having a really good time, and we ended on kind of a cliffhanger. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to get to play that again soon to find out how that goes. Yes, that's pretty much all the gaming. Let's see. Let's do work first, and then we'll get to personal. Work has been great. I'll talk a little bit more about the Shadowrun novel, which I did get the green light. We had our final conversation, so the words have started to go to the page on that, which is awesome. I'm officially starting to put together ideas and concepts for one of the expansion forces of Xeogenesis, which is awesome. We officially showed off some more Wolfbane sculpts from Wave 2, Production Wave 2, in Warzone Eternal. And next week, if all goes well, I will have some very cool stuff to share with you guys, you Warzone Eternal folks. I plan on having an entire episode dedicated to the pre-order / review of the tournament kit number 1. We got the okay from Heroic Signatures to finalize all of that. So things are coming together. Alex just recently posted an update to the Kickstarter showing just how many models, how many minis they're completely done. They're through production, and they're at Alex's storage place to get ready for us to start boxing and stuff. We're really, really close. I'm psyched. Obviously, we still have to wait for the acrylics from Death Ray Designs, but once those are done and the minis are in hand, it's time to pack and ship, baby. I am super happy, very, very happy there. Evil Genius stuff is going fantastically well. Had some very, very good meetings recently. In fact, I have an email currently sitting in the inbox of the agent. Let's see how it goes. The agent of a Hollywood actor who could be integral to us getting a fantastic property for Intergalactic Heroes in like another year. So hopefully that pans out and I can have that conversation and he will be amenable to working with us, because that would be freaking great. The playtest sessions themselves for IGH are going on strong. When this comes out, it will be just a couple hours before another one of our Discord playtest sessions happen. And then actually, as of yesterday's meeting, I will be running a extended playtest, a little 2-hour sessions, pretty much once a week or once every other week for the Evil Genius staff. It is a playtest, but I'm going to run it kind of like an ongoing campaign. Little chunks at a time, and it's going to be a little all over the place because, you only have an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes worth of playtime, and then you've got to discuss, how things went. So yeah, things are progressing nicely with Intergalactic Heroes. We put out a bunch of art orders for the main book. I'm just very, very happy. Happy all that stuff is ready to go, or getting ready to go toward the production level of the book itself. All right, so now we are going to move into personal part of Week of Bryan. The reason why I saved this for last is it has not been, going to the gym's been great. I've lost some of the weight that I gained when I had my shin splint. So like things are going great there. My kid's braces and his orthodontic appliance are in, and he's doing good with it. He's very self-conscious about some of the aspects of it, but I think that will go away with time as he gets used to it. He's only had it for a week. Very excited, got to meet and facilitate him hanging out with his girlfriend, which is awesome. I like seeing. God, this is gonna sound so weird. I like seeing the benchmark moments as he grows, and relationships outside of his Xbox friends. Is something that I like to see him spread his wings, so to speak. And they are very, the girlfriend is very sweet and wonderful, and I think that she's fantastic. Where was I going with that? Oh yeah. The most of the personal life of Bryan has been great. We do have. I'm going to try and get through this to the best of my ability without becoming a blubbering mess, because the last week has been very hard on Natalie and I. For the last 6 months or so. For the last 8 years, one of our oldest pets, Johns, the Martian Manhunter, the moose of a shepherd, he has been taking steroids for a chronic skin condition and a sizable hematoma in his ear. The steroids have never really given him a problem, but the vet has always said that it's being on his level of steroids for as long as he has that is going to cause significant damage to his kidneys and liver and such. And that we should always be watching and waiting for signs of problems. Well, he's been on these for 8 years, and he's a 12-year-old dog. Big dog. And about 6 months ago, we started to notice that he was having a hard time holding his bladder for longer than a few hours. And that eventually progressed into he was fully incontinent. Like he could not he wouldn't even know when he had to go outside to do a number 2, so to speak. And he would just like basically stand up and he would just kind of go. And that was a sign. And we did some blood panels, and they said, yeah, his numbers are elevated, but nothing to worry about. Well, fast forward more months, and in the last couple of weeks, we've noticed that he can barely stand for a few minutes at a time. He often lays down to have his meals. He has had to live in his big fancy dog house outside for much of the time, whereas he used to be able to hang out with us and hang out on the stairs, and where he used to he was an inside dog, obviously. He had to, unless the weather became inclement, he more or less lived in our backyard, or lives in our backyard, because he couldn't come in the house for very long without having problems. We talked to our vet, and seeing the signs that he's probably going through a significant amount of kidney failure, and if that were to happen, or if we allowed that to continue to happen, it would be a very painful process for him. So we've made the decision that in the next week, our vet, who is amazing, I love her to death, she is actually going to come out to the house, so we can say goodbye properly before things get so bad that he's suffering. The reason why we wanted to wait like a week is so the kids can say goodbye, and honestly, so we can pamper the hell out of him. So we've been buying him people food, and my friends are coming over to see him, say goodbye, bring him cheeseburgers. But it's hard. It's very hard. All right. Sorry about that. I just really kind of wanted to compose myself before we move on to the meat of the topic. But to round out the week in Bryan, things have been a little rough around here, and we'll get through it. I've had to do these sorts of things before. We'll get through it again, but it doesn't make it any less painful and sucky. So yeah. So basically, we have a family loss happening in real time, and it sucks. Not a fan. Wish that our lovely animals could stay with us forever and ever and ever. But reality is what reality is. So let's talk about not reality. Let's talk about the meat of today's subject. I mentioned I mentioned that I was going to talk about Shadowrun. So the first big fantastic news is my next Shadowrun novel, which I have been talking to the Shadowrun producers and the editor-in-chief over at the fiction editor over at Catalyst. I have been trying to get this greenlit for a while, but there's just been, life is hard, and especially if you're trying to run a company that's got so many moving parts, there's a queue, and I finally came up in the queue, and RJ and John gave me the green light so I can put words to page, and already have started doing so because I've got this burning story that I want to, technically multiple stories, that I want to get out onto the page because I am so excited. Additionally, I've seen the final cover art for my next novel to release, which it looks awesome. They did a great job taking one of the iconic scene, or one of the kind of like climactic scenes in the book, and turning it into an art piece. I like it even more knowing that just looking at the cover, you don't necessarily know who's the protagonist and who's the antagonist. It's not quite so cut and dry, and I really like that as far as the aspect of that story. So that's cool. Let's see what else. Magic Machines and Mayhem, the short story anthology edited by the amazing Jennifer Brozick, and with a ton of stories in it, ranging from Mike Stackpole, myself. I think Russ has one in there, and there's a bunch of new artists as well. It's a fantastic collection. It is currently the #1 seller on the digital service, the digital selling service that Catalyst uses on their website. It's the #1 book being sold, which is phenomenal. I cannot wait to get my greedy little fingers on that, and for you guys to be able to get your greedy little fingers on it too, so you can read the story that I wrote, and then we all can read the just cavalcade of amazing fiction that is put in there, and that hopefully will tide you over long enough to until Night Court comes out. Until my next novel comes out, and then I'll keep working on the one currently. Especially, so it's so weird as a novel writer that if you sign a gig that's multiple novels, if it's not a trilogy, if it's not actually designed to be a set number of part 1, part 2, part 3 kind of thing, it's interesting, the conversations, the planning conversations, because while I was working on the last one, I started getting super pumped for this one, and now that I'm getting started on this one, and I know what my next one's going to be, my next one's actually a very heavy meta book. I'm focused on this, but there's that little voice in the back of my head that's like, can't wait to do this thing. So I'm very happy with how the Shadowrun fiction stuff's coming down. My part of the Augment quarterly magazine, I have started putting some of the words to page on that as well. Which I'm very, very happy. That's going to be super fun. And in-character magazine, or zine, as the case may be, is, I think that's going to be so cool. I think, it's the kind of thing that if I was running a Shadowrun game, I would have my players mine it for hints and leads, and super, super excited. And then I wanted to again, I know this is going to be kind of a short episode because it's just kind of bringing you guys up to speed on how things have been going as far as life goes, and the fun that I've been having collectively with Shadowrun. All the fiction that I've been doing, the various avenues of fiction that I've been doing for them, has been great. And then last week, I had a little trip. I hadn't gotten the okay to talk about it publicly, so I wasn't. But now that I can, because I asked them and I was like, are we able to talk about this? And they're like, yeah, social it up. So here we go. Obviously, I'm not going to give you any spoilers because I want you to watch the show. But I spent 4.5 days last week in Toronto, Ontario, up in Canada, staying with my dear friend Tommy Gofton and the guys out at Six Sides of Gaming. They're a streaming channel. They've got their own YouTube, which I will put in the description of the video. You should totally check out their stuff. They have a couple of really cool shows. Deadliest Dungeon is fun, where they basically just kind of throw people into a meat grinder. The Legacy of Worlds just recently wrapped up, season 1 of Legacy of Worlds, which is a carryover from Destiny of Worlds, I believe, where they have permission to use level 20 versions of several iconic or existing canon characters from various universes. In some cases, they're the ones played by the people who created them. So Elisa Teague is playing, starts off playing a character from Ravenloft. Luke Gygax plays Melf the Elf, from Melf's Acid Arrow and Melf's Minute Meteors. So he's playing his iconic character from Greyhawk. The esteemed and illustrious Ed Greenwood is playing Elminster. The most famous wizard of all time. He's playing, from his world that he created, the Forgotten Realms. Keith Baker, the creator of Eberron, is playing Merix de Tereth, his iconic artificer from Eberron. And Tommy is playing Loholt Lovander, Loholt Linvander, sorry, the iconic paladin, kind of chronomantic paladin from his world from Legacy of Mana, from Imaria. And the concept obviously is super crazy, weird multiverse hijinks. Draw these epic characters together to tell an epic tale. So you should totally check out Legacy of Worlds. Watch all the way through season 1, because season 2 isn't out yet, so you'll be all caught up. Yeah, definitely get all caught up on that for reasons. But also, what we're talking about here today is the World of Shadows. World of Shadows is a Catalyst-sponsored Shadowrun chronicle that takes a handful of characters from the board game and the novels, or from the board games and the novels, and puts them through some role-playing paces. Puts them through a pretty significantly cool campaign. Introduces some new characters, introduces some new concepts, and season 1 recently ended, but they're all on the Six Sides of YouTube, the Six Sides of Gaming YouTube channel, so you can totally go back and watch all the way through season 1, because season 2 just wrapped filming last week. We did a 15 episode season. It was amazing. I loved every second of it, even the tense parts where the GM, the fabulous Rem Alternus, was beating us up and setting us up for some pretty significant plot moments. Let's see. Sitting around the table, we had Devin Wilson playing Leroy, a dwarven hacker of some ill repute. Tommy Gofton is playing Chronostatic, a decidedly non-cybered up, like no mojo, no cyber, completely vanilla. He's got a lot of equipment and stuff, but he is all face all the time. Elisa Teague plays Nyx, a technomancer, technically an elf, but she has surgically altered herself to defy facial recognition scans, and to not immediately, if you looked at her, you couldn't just be like, oh, it's that elf. She's got cyber horns and no pointed ears, and it's very cool. She's a very, very cool character. And then to round out the group, I actually got to play one of my iconic characters. Originally a tabletop character that I played, I think in like third or fourth edition Shadowrun, an elven gunslinger named Hollywood, named thusly because he's more or less the Shadowrun version of Johnny Cage, except with guns and not all of the kicky punchy. And not only did I get to play my iconic character, who's also been in some of my novels, I got to be a big part of the story, which you'll see when you watch it when it comes out. I'm going to assume that season 2 is probably going to come out next year, probably the beginning of 2025. I would assume. I don't know exactly when, how long it takes them to edit and do all the things, but I will say this. Thanks to the wonderful talent of KP over at KP11 Studios, I had a fancified headshot taken for all the stills and marketing promotion, and I'm going to show it to you now. Pretty cool, huh? Obviously, I am not in as fit shape as Hollywood is, but I think KP did a great job capturing the right kind of action and attitude, and then did his like digital layering and stuff to make it look like, a scene from something that Hollywood would do. I'm very happy for the work that he did, and I got to portray, arguably, probably the character that I have that hits closest to home for me as far as like the longest that I ever played him, and who has graced the pages of official canon. It was an absolute honor to even be invited to be part of the series, but it was so cool being on in a set with the camera light, the camera setups, and having the soundboard technician off to the side. It was so cool. I mean, I've played Hollywood before on stage, like in live plays and things, but this was somehow different. Knowing that this is going to be a professionally shot and edited and done up series, that people are going to be able to watch once a week for 15 weeks. It was very cool, like super cool. It was a great experience, so much so that Tommy, Devin, and I have discussed kind of at length that I'm going to do a lot. I'm going to try and get a little more involved with Six Sides, for multiple reasons, not even just to play games and be on video and do all that stuff, but also on a professional level, because Six Sides of Gaming is the video stuff. Linvander Studios is the gaming stuff, and Linvander does a bunch of. They make board games. They obviously make Legacy of Mana. They make the Knights of Amaria game. And I've already done a little bit of writing for them for Amaria, but I plan on being a little more involved. I really like what Tommy and the studios are putting together. I like their work ethic. I like his general openness and positivity. And they have given me no reason to distrust the fact that they really just kind of want to make cool games and facilitate people's enjoyment, which obviously, if you watch this channel, you know that that's the number one reason why I do what I do. So I expect in the future more involvement with Six Sides and more involvement with Linvander, because I really, on a personal level, I know that I have found new friends that I not only trust, but really, really enjoy spending time with. But then on top of that, I really do believe that they have some very cool stuff being put together. They've got some great ideas, and I would like to help, prop up and make more out of those ideas or add ideas to the mix. Just collectively, I think it's a good thing all around. So expect more out of me through Six Sides and Linvander in the future. So let's talk about the actual shoot. So 15 episodes. Originally, we were talking about trying to do another 20 episode season, just like season 1. Except when we started looking at it, the powers that be, they looked at it and kind of came to the decision that maybe there were a couple of episodes that were a little fillery. I mean, it was a great season, don't get me wrong, but it could have been done in like 14. Kind of made the episodes a little more punchy, make bring it together. And so the goal was originally to do 14 episodes. And shooting that over 4 days it's a lot. The episodes are technically only an hour long, but you have got breaks and setups and prep and things between the episodes, and you have to take breaks for lunch and dinner. There's a lot more to it than just sitting down at the table and smashing out 14 hours worth of footage. And we, on the very first day that I got there and we were getting ready to start for the shoot, while they were setting things up, we found out that our game master, the illustrious Rem Alternus, Rem was sick, was under the weather, and there was some discussion of, oh gosh, what if she does not get better? And Bryan can't. I'm only there for 4 days. I flew up, I do my shot, I fly back home. And even more so that I couldn't even extend it because I had a wedding to go to on the day that I get back. So it was there was some tension that first day, whether or not kind of, I shouldn't say tension, I say apprehension. What are we going to do? How's this going to work? Are we going to run a bunch of one shots? Are we going to try and bring in a new game master to stand in for a handful of episodes? Do we just want to what do we want to do? Now, luckily for us, the following morning, Rem felt much, much better, and we hit the ground running, and we managed to get 7 episodes in the very first day. And from what I have been told, that was a lot. Again, for me, this was my first on-set shoot, so I was just like, yeah, cool, this is great. It was exhausting, it was mentally taxing. At the end of the night, just the time to go get some food. It was a lot, but it was awesome. It was a great experience, and the following morning, I was ready to rock and roll. Let's do it again. And we did 6 more episodes on day 2. technically, I guess that makes it day 3. And we were very, very close to the potential end of the arc. Like it started coming one of those, all right, so how are we going to wrap this up? How are we going to turn this into an actual season ending thing rather than just, oh, we ran out of time? And Rem did an amazing job of coming together with a very cool storyline that ends in an awesome way. But where we had planned for 14 episodes, we actually put 15 in the can. That last day before I had to scoop my stuff off and whisk off to the airport, we got the last 2 episodes in that morning, and they turned out great. The collective season, there are gasps, there are legitimate. Elisa tells me in one instance that, you know, she has it on, you know, when you are an actor, sometimes you ham things up for the camera. I mean, like that's part of the job that you're doing. I heard a legitimate gasp come out of Elisa, and she goes, she said something about, you know, like, I literally have chills. And that was that was a moment that it was like, okay, cool. A visceral reaction, a body reaction out of someone else at the table. That's awesome. I got to be very scary in one particular scene. Obviously I'm not going to tell you what it is because I want you to watch the show. But I get to deliver a line that it hit well. We'll just say it hits well. And I think, you know, it's Shadowrun, so there's a lot of cool stuff and tech stuff and back and forth and distrust and all that kind of stuff. But I will say this. I mentioned the fact that I've gotten close to these people as friends, not just as colleagues or not just as people that I portray a character with, but that I actually do really enjoy being around, you know, or being around these people. We had so many honest, deep belly laughs. I mean, uncontrollable laughter at the table between sessions. I don't know if the editing might need to take some of it out, because it almost might seem like dead air how much laughter was happening in some cases. It was an absolute pleasure. I would do this forever if I could. And if I was asked to do so. It was fantastic, and we had some heartfelt moments. We had a character who often comes off as kind of a jerk, opened up, and we got some heartfelt, like, backstory moments for somebody. It was really cool. It was very, like, I can't express. I don't want to go too deep into it or wow too much, because I might end up giving away spoilers. But if between now and when season 2 eventually comes out, you should totally watch season 1. Follow the Six Sides link in the description, and bring yourself up to speed on the story. And then I don't know if they've got the video captures of them, but we will sometimes play the World of Shadows team at conventions, doing like little one-offs or, you know, kind of interludes between the main plot. In fact, I know I've got one coming up at Gamehole very shortly, but we will see. We will see how all of that comes together, but it was so much fun. It was so much fun. And it really did recharge a lot of my creative batteries. It definitely got me all hyped to throw Shadowrun words on the page. Just a collective awesome. Just a collective amount of awesome. And a great trip, and I will be making more of those in the future. One way or another. Let's just put it that way. It was great. And I really needed it, knowing all the stuff that I was dealing with at home. and the tough decisions that had to be had to be decided and have yet to come to fruition, but that I needed that sort of avalanche of positivity in order to be able to handle the negative aspects of stuff that I had to come home and deal with. But it was great. It was great. I don't want to get down. I don't want to get all mopey again. So Shadowrun 6th World, as a rule set, there are a couple of things that I disagree with. I think that there were a few things that were done a little hastily and probably could have used a little more thought and playtest to see, hey, maybe this doesn't make a lot of sense. But one of the best mechanics that I think that was added is the fluctuating edge pool. You gain edge for a lot of things. Your edge refreshes at the top of scenes. You use edge as like kind of your lucky dice pool. It takes a little getting used to that you've got this kind of back and forth resource that you can spend for things that you get almost every time that you roll a die in some cases, or, oh, I'm using this piece of equipment, so I always get an edge every time I use this piece of equipment. There's a lot of stuff, and having a nice like cheat sheet off to the side that tells you what you can do with your edge in and out of combat is a really cool thing. They're adding new edge powers in new books as the Sixth World 6th edition progresses. Some of which we actually got to use. There was a what is it? Is it supporting role? Supporting roles? No, that's not right. I don't remember the name of the book. I think it's supporting role. It's the new book for 6th edition had a handful of really cool edge powers, edge actions that we found. It's kind of marketed as a book for faces, but it's more like a book for teamwork. It's got a lot of stuff about faces and how the face can lead the team and contacts and that kind of stuff. But there's a bunch of stuff in the back that is just kind of general. This is good for a team to have access to. I think it's fantastic. It was a great book, and the fact that we got to use it kind of before it hit shelves was great. It was an excellent shoot, an excellent time. Both off and on camera, and it reinforced my love for the genre, it reinforced my love for the game, and definitely reinforced my love for the character. I mean, it's my character. It was a great stint, and that was why you didn't get a video last week, because I was out shooting other videos for you to enjoy in the future. But until then, make sure you pop over to Six Sides, subscribe to their channel so you can get all the cool new videos as they come out. I'll obviously let you know as stuff happens on my end. And until then, just be safe. Wash your hands, wear a mask in places you have to. Now that we're starting to get back into like flu and cold season. Just try and leave every room a little happier than when you got there. And for me personally, if you are a pet owner, love the hell out of your pets, because it means a lot. It really does. Until then, play some games, have some fun. We'll see you next week.